Hey everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome to my crochet stream. I am also streaming voice in my Discord. You can see actually up here at the top of the screen my little icon, and everyone is welcome to join me. If you join my Discord, which is right here on the screen, this is not a link, however. I mean, it just tells you the address, but you can go to my about section. If you click on my name and go to about, that there should be a Discord button there, or you can type Discord ! Discord in the chat, and that will bring up a link as well. So I'm being joined by Queen Bee. Welcome, Queen Bee. Thank you for joining. Is she on yet?
So,
hey,
I'm going to be on, but I am baking something in the kitchen, so I'm going to come in every once in a while and watch, but then I also have to be doing that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for letting me know.
So I will be muted most of the time, unless I have a question about.
Okay. Well, just to let everybody know, the stitch we're doing today is called the star stitch. And it is a little bit advanced. You do have to pay attention. More than anything, you have to pay attention to where you're placing the hook. That's very important. So I will go ahead and tell you about the supplies that we're going to use. So I'm using some yarn. This happens to be a size 3 yarn, but I normally use 4. I am using the same size hook, even though I'm using a size 3 yarn, which is a 5mm, also known as H in American sizes. I've got some scissors here, which I'm going to put to the side, but you always want to keep scissors handy. And I have got my samples. So this is what we're going to be making today, this little star stitch. So it looks really pretty. This would make like really nice if you were doing a scarf. And you can do it whatever width you want. I did it at 25 chain stitches, and I'll explain that in a second, but you always want to pick an odd number of chain stitches. That's so if you don't have a pattern that's telling you what size to make it, then go with 25. I mean, not go with 25, go with an odd number, sorry. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be using all single crochet and half double crochet stitches. So I'm going to pull out some, I kind of want to do this pink yarn though. I'm going to pull from the outside, which I very rarely do. I don't like pulling from the outside, but I really want to make this star pattern in the pink, this kind of coral pink. All right, so the first thing I did was I made a slip knot. And just to remind everybody how to do that, because I did that pretty fast, but just to remind everybody, you take your string and you're going to just twist it. And what that does is when you twist it, it makes a little loop. Whichever side is on top, so this side is on top, you're going to make another little loop, just a little one, and you're going to come from underneath this loop. So you're going to pick that up and come from underneath. Grab that loop. And then you're going to grab your 2 ends. This is called the tail. This is called the working yarn. You're going to grab both of those and just pull. And that gives you your slip knot. Then you can go ahead, and I usually do it with my finger. I just pull it to the width of my finger. And then I put my hook on. Now, the hook, see how it gets narrow here? You want to hook it at the fat part there. If you are brand new to crochet, I highly recommend that you go one size up. So I'm using a 5mm, so I would recommend going with a 6mm hook and doing your chain stitch, because otherwise you're going to get a really tight chain stitch and it's going to be hard to stitch into. The chain stitch is probably the hardest part of crochet, even though it's the easiest thing to do. It's hard to get that tension right. Okay, so we're going to chain. So for this one, I chained 25. I'm going to do a few less. I'm going to actually do 17. I don't know why. I just picked that. I want that number. So we're going to do our foundation chain to 17. So the foundation chain, you just put a finger on this to hold, or you can pinch it with your thumb and forefinger, but just to hold it so it doesn't slip around. Yarn over. Then you're going to pinch that little slip knot that you made down at the bottom, and you're going to just pull that yarn through. Okay, so yarn over, pinch this little area here, pull it through. Yarn over, pinch this area, and pull it through. And as you'll see, it's going to start to make little stitches. Now that was 3, so I'm going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now as I'm doing this, I'm pulling it just a little bit, like just a little bit to give it some room so that it's not tight. See how there's a little bit of space there. It's not completely tight around the hook. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now if you're ever not sure how many you've done, you can count the humps. So if you see here, let's see, I'm trying to make it so you guys can see really well. My lighting is very bright. But see how you've got these little humps, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So you just count those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Nope, I think I got one extra. Hold on, I got twisted. That happens. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I did, so I'm going to do one more to do 19 because we just have to have an odd number. It doesn't matter what that actual number is. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So this is our first. Let me just put this light down a little bit. Okay, so this is our first here. We're going to go into the second. Now, we're going to start the single crochet like we normally would by yarning over and pulling it through. But instead of yarning over and pulling through both, we're going to actually just leave these on the hook. We're going to go through the next one. So you go through the second one, pull your yarn through. Now you should have 3 on there. Go through the third one, pull your yarn through. Now you should have 4. And we're going to go until we have 6 on there. So I've got 5. I'm going to go to the next one and 6. All right, so I now have 6 loops on here. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 6. And if you've given yourself enough space, it should be pretty easy. I like to pull down on the bottom part of the work, and that will actually give you some tension against. Here, I'll just show you. It gives you tension. I'm going to have to get that last loop in there. Okay, so I've got 6 on there. I yarn over, I pull down on this, and what that does is, see, it makes it wider so that I can easily pull through. So I can easily just pull that through. All through 6. When you get to the end of it, to close your star, these are the spikes of your star, you're just going to yarn over and pull through, just a chain stitch. And this creates the center of the star. Okay, now here's where it gets tricky. That wasn't the tricky part. That was the easy part. We are going to go through the center of that star. So you're going to find the hole in that star and you're going to go right through the center. Pull your yarn through. So that's your first one. We've got 2 on there. Remember, we're not finishing that single crochet. We're just pulling it through. Then what you're going to do, and this is where it gets tricky, you need to find your last 2 stitches. So your 2 spikes. So I've got all my spikes here. I'm going to find the last 2 spikes and I'm going to go right in the middle between those 2 spikes and pull through. Then I'm going to go where the last spike, the chain that last spike went into, which should be a pretty big hole there. We're going to go through that and pull through. Now you should have 4 loops on here. So you went through the center of your star, you went through the last 2 spikes in your star, and then we went through the same chain that your last spike was in. Then we need to get 2 more on here. So you're going to go through the next chain and pull that through, and then the next chain and pull that through. And now we have 6. Go ahead and finish it just like you did the other star. You yarn over and you're going to pull through all 6. I just realized that maybe this color, while it looks pretty, it might not be the easiest to see for you guys. Let me see if that helps any. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take my, oh, yikes. I was going to put my mouse pad there, but my mouse pad seems to be rather dirty. Well, it's better than nothing. So that you guys can actually see. There we go. What I'm doing here. So I pulled through the 6, so I need to do a chain stitch to close it, and that gives me the center of my star. We're going to go through the center of that star. We're going back through that chain stitch and pull it through. Then we're going to find our last 2 spikes. Here's the last 2. And you can go slow. I'm trying to go slow for you guys because it's important that you get it in the right spot. And pull the yarn through. And then you go through the chain that your last spike went through in your foundation chain. And pull that through. And that should give you 4. And then we'll just go through the next 2 chain stitches. So that gives us 6. All right, yarn over. I'm going to pull through all 6. And then I'm going to chain 1. And that gives me my center. All right. Go through that center hole and pull it through. Find the last 2 spikes. So my last 2 spikes are right here. And go through the center there. Go through the last, that chain stitch that the last spike is in. That should give you 4. And then go through the next 2, and that should give you a total of 6. I need to give myself some slack. All right, so now I've got 6 on here. I'm going to pull through all 6 and chain 1. And you can see the pattern that it's making here. Okay. So let's do another star. Go through the center of that chain that you just did and pull through. Find the last 2 spikes. Let's see. And go through the center of those pull that through, and then find the last chain that that last spike is in and pull through that. Then you just go through the next 2. And again, we're not finishing our crochets yet until we have 6. Then you yarn over and pull through all 6. Hopefully this is making sense. Go through the center. Go through the between the last 2, go into the last chain that the chain that the last spike is in. Oops. And then go through the next 2. 1, 2. Oop. Well, there we go. All right. And we should have one more to do. There should be 3 stitches left. So if you look, there should be, man, this light is really, let me see if turning on my, that isn't really all that much more helpful, but at least you can see the 3. So we should have 1, 2, 3. All right. At some point, I'm going to have to like figure out a new lighting situation. All right, so we're going to go through the center of that chain stitch that we just did. Pull through. Find our last 2. And pull through that. And I think, hold on, I think I accidentally grabbed some extra yarn there, so I pulled that back out, and I'm gonna go through the hole again. There we go. All right, go through the chain stitch that the last spike is in. You should have 4, and then go through the next 2. 1, 2. And you should have 1 left. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and go ahead and do your chain 1. But this time we're not going to go into the center of the chain. That just closes the star. We're going to actually do a half double crochet. Now I taught this last week. So the difference between single crochet and half double is that you yarn over first before going into the hole. So we're going to yarn over, go into our very last stitch on the chain, pull through, and we're going to go ahead and complete this by yarning over and pulling through all 3. So this is what you should have. I want to give you a chance to catch up. So how's everybody doing today? It's kind of a, oh, my mouse pad isn't, it's being used. And hopefully everybody's doing well today. All right, now in between our star stitches, there's actually a row. And you can see this here with this kind of raised bit. See, it's kind of raised. This is going to be a half double crochet. So we're going to half double crochet all the way across. So we're going to chain 2, which is the beginning of a half double crochet row, and turn. Then we are going to go into the center of our stars. So we're going to find the first center. So here's the first center. We're going to go right into that hole, pull through. Now we're going to do 1 more half double crochet in that hole. So go right through that center of that star and do a second one. And just pull through all 3. All right, now we're going to go to the next star center. Go through the center of the hole, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3. We'll do one more half double crochet, like that. So we're going to do this all the way across. So yarn over, go through the next center, like the center of your next star. And we'll do that twice, each time. So I'm doing that twice. Now just to, as we're doing this, I'll remind you that I'm going to be doing my drawing stream tonight. We're going to be doing a still life of a peacock feather in a vase and some candles. All you need is a number 2 pencil and maybe a colored pencil if you want to add. If you want to add some color, because I will be adding some red to my candles. Anytime you want to see my schedule too, if you go to that same about page that I told you about, if you click on my name in Twitch and go to my about tab, there should be a link there for the schedule as well, and that will tell you everything that's coming up. Now, I haven't filled out the August schedule yet, but this week is filled out. So
I will be doing the drawing tonight.
You will. Excellent. Thank you, Molly. By the way, what are you baking, Molly?
When we went to the Asian market today,
Mm-hmm.
and we got these popping cookums.
Oh.
And there's one that's sushi, and then there's a donut one. I'm doing the donut, Jack's doing the sushi.
Ooh, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, now when you get to the end, you get to the last star. There's a, there is, basically it's the side of one of your stars. And, oh wait, nope, hold on. Yep, the side of one of your stars, sorry. We're going to do 2 half double crochets in that. Now, for the most part, our next row is going to be just like the first row. However, there is a slight difference in how it starts. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to chain stitch 3. So 1, 2, 3. So 1 extra chain stitch. And you're going to turn. Then we are going to actually go in the second chain from the hook. So this is one of the first times that you'll probably ever be chain stitching on a turn and then actually crochet into the chain stitch, but we are today. So you go 1, 2, go into the second one and go ahead and pull that through. Don't do anything with it, just leave it there. Go into the third chain stitch. Oops, I went into the last one, hold on. Pull that through, go into the third one, pull that through, and then you're going to go into that the next 2 double crochets. And we need one more. Hang on, I need to double check that. Okay, I think it's just the third stitch. All right, so yeah, we go into the third stitch, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, and now we should have 6 on there. I just needed to double check that. So see, we should now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yarn over and pull through all 6. This is our star. And then do your chain 1 to close it. Now everything going across is going to be exactly the same. So you're going to go through the center, pull through. You're going to find your last 2, go through the center of those and pull through. Go through the crochet. So this time we're not going through a chain, we're going through the crochet. So you're going to go through that last hole that your spike went through, pull through, and then do 2 more. So 1, 2, and that's going to give you 6. Yarn over and pull through all 6. Then don't forget to do your center. So we're going to do that going all the way across. I'm going to give myself some more slack here. All right, so you go through the center, pull through, go through the last 2 spikes here, oops, and I think I picked up some extra, so hold on. There we go. Go through the crochet, the hole that your last spike went through, and then 2 more. And just pull that yarn through, and then you should have 6 loops on there. I'm just continuing on with my star. Once you have 6, yarn over and pull through all 6. Don't forget that little chain stitch at the end. That creates the center of your star. There we go. Sorry I'm not super talkative today. Yesterday I went to the beach. Molly here was involved with that. And I got a little bit sunburned. And it has made me extremely tired. So I'm not at my normal chipper self today. Go through that center. Go through the last 2 spikes. Go through that last hole. And then 2 new crochets. All right, these should be my last 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the other side. I'm going to do one half double crochet oops, I meant to pull through all 3 there. So now I'm going to go ahead and end mine. Man, this has not been a very long stream. And that's okay. Like I said, especially since I'm feeling pretty tired today, it's okay that it wasn't a long stream. But you can go as long as you want with this. Here, I'll hold it up on the black so you can see. You can keep going, and you would just do your half double would be the next thing. So you would do a whole row of half double crochets, and then you do another row of star stitches, and you just keep going. Now, if you are completely done, you pull through the last loop, cut and pull, just like I did, and then you will weave in your ends. So I'm just going to weave in by pulling the yarn through. And then you're just going to go right on back the other way. So you weave it, you pull in and out there, and then you go back the other way. And what that does is it kind of locks it in place. Now, if you have trouble getting into the holes there, you can actually use a smaller crochet hook. So sometimes I'll go a size down. So that's one. And what happens is when you pull it, it locks against itself so it doesn't pull out. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with this other one. That did not go in the correct place. That's okay. As long as you get it into, like, as long as you get it weaving the other direction, then it's fine. So today was a pretty short stream. The star stitch isn't really very difficult. Well, I said it was difficult. It is difficult, but what the difficult part isn't the stitch itself. It is, you know, because it's just like doing half of a single crochet. The difficult part is like getting the placement correct and making sure that you're putting the yarn in the right place, that you're putting the new stitch in the right place. So you just got to remember the center of the star, between the last and the second to last spikes in your star, and then in the last crochet stitch or foundation that your last spike is in. All right, so I'm going to trim this. So you could make a really cool scarf like this. You can see this really interesting pattern. It's a lot more visible here. So the pink looks really pretty, and it would make a pretty scarf, but I think the blue is more visible. So, all right, I'm going to put my mouse back on my mouse pad. So my mouse is happy. So these are the 2 stitches. Like I said, today was a pretty short stream. We haven't even hit 40 minutes yet, so that's good. If there are any questions, that would be great. Otherwise, next week, I think I'm going to go ahead and start to teach knitting, and I'm only going to do a little bit of knitting. I'm not going to get too far into it. I just think that it's something that a lot of you might like to learn. I think that, you know, I tag knitting on here because knitting and crocheting are so interwoven, pun intended. But, you know, they're so connected. And a lot of people do both knitting and crocheting. So I want you guys to be able to do both. So I'm going to teach knitting next week. I'm going to probably try to stick with the same yarn, same size yarn, the needles should be the same size, 5mm. Like everything should be the same from like as far as size and stuff like that. So we will, learn a couple of knit stitches for the next few weeks. And then I'll come back to crochet. And I'm thinking that when I come back to crochet, I would really like to teach you guys amigurumi. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that is you make like little creatures, or that's usually what I make, is like little creatures. And you've got like I may, here, hold on, I'll show you guys. So this is Louis. He's a lobster. And this would be considered amigurumi. And you stuff it usually. And you just like make little creature or something like that. Like that. This is an example of amigurumi. Now, Louis is pretty big. I made him with bigger yarn because I happen to have some red yarn handy from something else I had made. But a lot of times with amigurumi, you use very tiny yarn. And so you've got these little tiny creatures. And I'll have to find something that's relatively easy for us to make, because amigurumi tends to be very complicated. So for example, I made these two arms separately. Then I started this, and as I started it, it had me crochet these. As you go, then you implant the eyes, like when it's about here, you put the eyes in. And these are just buttons that have like a little piece on the back to keep them from popping out. They're called safety beads. Again, then as I go and I make these, like as I go, but then these three things were made separately and added. So that's the thing, is that you do it in parts a lot of times, and then you stitch everything together. So amigurumi can get kind of complicated, but I'll see if I can't find something really simple, like maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to make. Maybe like a little, something round, like smiley face or something like that. But anyway, the point is that it is some kind of little object, and it's stuffed usually. So that will probably be either at the end of August or the beginning of September. So we're going to do some knitting in between that until I get to this, but this is more advanced. All right. So without further ado, if there are no more questions, I am ready to end the stream. So Molly, did you have any questions?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me, Molly. I hope that your donut, what was it called again? Poppin' Cookin'? Mm-hmm. Okay, I hope your donut Poppin' Cookin' works out. And you can tell your brother that I hope his sushi one works out. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. And I hope to see you tonight for my drawing stream at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, we will be
there right at the dot.
Awesome. Good to hear. And again, I will also be doing the Discord, this up here, the Discord voice, where you can join us in voice. I'll be doing that as well. So I look forward to seeing you then. Everyone have a great day and a great week if I don't see you tonight. Bye.